Hello and welcome back to Rev Real Estate School. I'm your host, Michael Montgomery, and we're very lucky to be joined by Carrie Soave today. Carrie, how you doing?
I am so good. It is raining where I'm at, but can't be Christmas every day.
Can't be Christmas every day. Well, rain or shine, we're talking about the wonderful world of AI today. And we're quite lucky to have Carrie with us. She is an AI expert, an AI consultant. But the really important thing I think that we need to discuss here is that Carrie was originally a real estate agent, focused very heavily on social media, generated a lot of her business, if not all of it, potentially from social media. And then about a year and a half ago, she really started to understand and start to see all of the cool, I guess, impacts that AI can have on a real estate agent's business, and is now pretty well exclusively dedicating herself to the AI space. Is that right, Carrie? Do I have that accurately put out?
Yeah, I'm still a licensed agent, but I am a full-time consultant. So I am the official AI consultant to EXP internationally at the corporate level, as well as other brokerages like Arola Page franchise, Remax franchises. So I'm fortunate enough to have this as my full-time job now. So yeah.
Amazing. Okay, well, this is great. As everyone knows on this show, we're working on an AI tool as well. So we're going to dive deep into this world of AI. And I think that it's probably worthwhile for us to go beyond some of the more surface level, not that these things aren't important, but such things as, creating listing descriptions and things like that agents may already be familiar with. We're going to go a lot deeper than that. And also trying to think through, what does the future of real estate look like with this new technology? So first off, as we jump in here, Carrie, I'd love you to respond to this. And this is something that I heard in a meeting a few weeks ago with a very high-level CEO of an MLS board. And we won't name him or anything like that. But we were talking about AI, and we were talking about the impacts of AI in real estate. And he raises his hand and says, well, here are my thoughts on AI in real estate. It's a toy. It's just a fun toy for people to play around with, especially ChatGPT, and it's likely going to go away in a few years. So how would you respond to that?
That is an uneducated statement. Plainly, okay? Once more and more agents discover that AI can equip them with actual knowledge from all the data that these boards are compiling for us, and once they find out that they can massively scale their business without sinking tens of thousands of dollars into it a month, the majority of agents will be using AI. Therefore, our industry will change because of that, and it will not go back.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's an important final part too, around it will not go back. The world that we're moving towards is going to be different from the previous world. So jumping into it, how are you seeing agents start to integrate AI into their workflows?
So many things, from content creation to marketing to automation. Automation is a really key one in terms of scaling your business. Absolutely everything. Like, you're talking to somebody that uses AI for everything I do, like everything I do. I feel like the majority of agents at this point are using it to create listing descriptions and stuff like that. But the capabilities go far beyond that. And I'm trying to bring that awareness to as many agents as I can.
Love it. Okay. And we are going to jump into, Carrie's like an absolute whiz when it comes to all of the tools that are out there for real estate agents when it comes to AI. But since you've been thinking a lot about this, you're a thought leader when it comes to the AI space in real estate. What do you think our roles are going, or how are our roles going to change, let's say, potentially in 5 years? And I totally understand that these questions are nearly impossible to answer because we never really know what the future holds. But when you start to kind of think through, what is the day in the life of a real estate agent like in 5 years' time when AI has fully integrated into all of our workflows? What sort of changes do you suspect?
Okay, well, first of all, as agents can fully implement AI into the back end of their business and start automating properly, that's going to give them more face time in front of their clients. So good agents are going to be better. They're going to have better relationships with their clients and the general public. And I'd like to talk about, it's kind of hard to predict the short term, like 5 years I can consider short term. I'm looking at what's going to happen much longer term in terms of jobs in general. And I have an opinion on that. You know, we've been through all of these revolutions in terms of employment. And I feel like any task related jobs are going to become redundant. So right now with ChatGPT, we can create a lot of content. We do have the capabilities of performing tasks, however, like through actions and APIs. However, it's super developer heavy right now. That's going to all change this summer. So once AI can perform the task, not only create the ideas, create the content, but now perform the tasks, it's going to be the thought leaders and the idea people that are going to thrive going forward. That's my prediction. Because
So when we're thinking about this, can we differentiate, I guess, tasks and creating content? So when you're saying that it's going to automate tasks, what are some examples you think of those tasks that could be automated using AI?
Anything repetitive, definitely. So for an agent, what does that look like? The process. Okay, so I'm taking agents, just let's talk about social media alone. I'm taking agents from idea to creation to editing to posting, all with AI. But you can actually automate that as well. So now you have entire systems running on their own. And all you have to do is create the video, right? So film the video. That's literally the only step you have to make. If you're not creating video and it's a picture, that can be automated as well. In terms of listings, what's an automation? Let's think about, you get the listing, the paperwork is sent off for signatures. A listing description is created automatically from the listing description. An ad campaign is created. A social media organic campaign is created with landing pages, landing page copy, which is then, actually performed in tasks. Drip campaigns are created and running. That could all be automated as well. You can automate anything. That's the beauty. And AI is bringing the power of automation to people that didn't have access to it before. So I don't know if you ever use Zapier. I've used Zapier for years. And as soon as I got to something a little bit difficult, because contrary to popular belief, I have no computer background whatsoever, like zero. No computer skills. I am awful. I am not a techie person. Okay, so that's something that most people don't know about me. And when I used to use Zapier, I was very limited because building out automations is difficult. Okay, now AI is implemented into Zapier. So all I have to do is tell it the automation I want to build, and Zapier will build it out. The AI within Zapier will build that out for me. So automation is becoming a lot more accessible. So now we can build any kind of automation, and it's exciting because who doesn't want to automate their whole lives so that they can focus on what's important, right?
That's a good point. I heard an AI expert talk about this concept of automation recently, and he said, like computers automate things, like in a sense you go to a Google spreadsheet or something, and there's an element of automation, but what AI is doing is it's almost automating automation in a sense. Like you're taking what a computate, or they're automating computation is probably a better way of putting it. Like computation is a massive technology, but it's not necessarily automated in a sense. And now AI is automating that, which is even hard for my mind, I guess, to comprehend in a sense when you start to think about where it could potentially go. So let's narrow in on a couple of those concepts that you brought up. Let's start with this concept of content creation. And where my mind went as soon as you said, look, AI is going to be able to, you're going to basically create the content and AI is going to handle the rest. Mm-hmm. Don't we kind of run into this situation where there is just content overload, which I know is a big topic of conversation right now with AI-driven content? Aren't we just going to be overwhelmed with content? And is the consumer going to be like, every real estate agent's posting 15 times a day with automated content? How can agents start to kind of wrestle through that idea?
Okay, well, that's going to happen. It's already happening in other industries. Content creators in other industries are flooding the market with content. There's content creators coming up just like appearing out of nowhere because AI is helping them through the entire process, and they're building quite a digital brand, like a really strong digital brand. So it's going to happen. Value is going to beat out everything else, right? So when you think in terms of how many people don't the concepts aren't going to change around social media. And that's one thing that I do teach, Michael, is the ideas and the types of content you need to create. It's really quite simple. You just need to know who your target is and answer the questions that they're asking. But without an understanding of that, and I would say about 5% of realtors actually know what they should be posting, which is why social media scares most of them. AI is not going to change that. And the ability to use and manipulate AI to generate valuable content is still going to be a skill. So I think that valuable content is still going to be, I don't think we're going to get oversaturated with that. We may get oversaturated with content, but will it be good? That's my opinion.
That's a really good point. Yeah. I mean, even YouTube recently released this, I guess that little button when you're uploading content to it, you have to indicate whether anything was generated by AI. And like, if we think about the power of AI, as it begins to progress, you'd think that AI is going to be able to detect if it was created by AI in a sense, right? And yeah, so ultimately, if we're just creating AI driven blog content, we're going to have to, it's going to have to be better than just what AI can create. That's kind of where my mind goes, but maybe I'm wrong about that.
Yeah, and like look at the blogs, okay? So when I have a really cool workflow that I use to create my video content. What I do is I know my topics. I don't use AI to generate my topics just because I am a content creator. This is something I specialize in. So I know my topics for the month. And what I'll do is I'll do Google searches and find articles that are coming up in first and second place, you know, about that topic. I've configured a prompt that will turn that article into an SEO optimized YouTube video script that now relates to real estate agents, right? Because my target is realtors. It's no longer buyers or sellers.
What I guess are some of the tools that you're using then in order to actually create the content and then distribute the content using AI?
Okay, so for YouTube, I'm using vidIQ a lot. I feel like that's a really good one because when you think in terms of social media platforms, some of them are similar, but YouTube is definitely a completely different monster. And it would be a full-time job to try to figure out SEO and YouTube algorithms. And it's not your job. You're a real estate agent. So definitely use vidIQ. For content creation, I use ChatGPT a lot. I've built custom GPTs that are specific for creating video scripts or creating SEO optimized captions for like that are different on each platform. I use those a lot. For my ideas, it's not an AI tool per se, but I get my ideas from Neil Patel's website, which is answerthepublic.com, because if you're thinking in terms of answering the questions that your audience is asking, that's literally what this website does, right? It tells you, you put in your topic or your industry, and it will tell you all the questions that the public is asking around that. Those are my favorites. Oh, I have one more. And it is more of a distribution platform. It will create posts for you. Not videos, obviously, but it will create your posts or you upload your videos. So it uses AI and then it distributes to all platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all of them. And that one is realestatecontent.ai. That's a really fun one. And then ManyChat. And it's an automation tool. Yeah, it's an automation tool. They do use AI in it. You can use AI to generate your entire automation, all the copy in it. So that's how ManyChat uses AI for beginners. And that's really cool because it will automate all of your conversations right within the DMs of your Instagram and Facebook. So that one alone has changed my business. I'm bringing in, I've built complete funnels within ManyChat that are live within Instagram, and I'm bringing in like 50 leads a week organically.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've heard, I haven't played around with it, but I've heard really good things about that tool. So basically, and listeners may be very familiar with it, but for myself, I guess, and maybe those that haven't used it, is it like an auto response tool in a sense? I'm sure it's more than that, but is it kind of an auto response tool for when you get a DM, or is it for sending DMs, or a combination?
It's a combination, but it also has a trigger. So anybody who follows me is going to notice that in a lot of my videos, if I'm talking about a GPT that I built, I'll say, hey, just comment the word GPT on this post or DM me the word GPT and I'll give you free access to this really cool one that I built. So that's a trigger, and as soon as somebody comments on any of my posts or DMs me or comments on a story or live, no matter however I've configured it, a message will be sent to them in their DMs, and that's where the automation happens. So you can almost it's a complete funnel, right? From top of funnel to you can go all the way to conversion. I like to direct people out to my landing pages though, and my CRM, just personally.
Yeah.
As realtors, we have amazing CRMs, and most of them have the ability to build landing pages right within them. So I like to utilize that and get everybody in one place.
Yeah. It's a great way of staying organized. That's it. That's interesting. That's a really powerful tool. You brought up the concept though of GPTs, which I think is very worthwhile for us to discuss. So
Yeah.
let's maybe start by, just for anyone who hasn't heard the word GPT or what is a GPT, can you explain GPTs? And then we'll get into some of the ones that you've created.
Okay, so if you want to think about so GPT, a custom GPT is built in ChatGPT. So if we're talking about ChatGPT, having wide and vast knowledge and knowing nearly everything that's available on the internet and being able to have conversations around it, a custom GPT is going to be narrow and deep. It's going to do one task, one workflow. It's going to be in one niche, and you can set the parameters. So you build this as a user. You don't need to be a developer to build them. And you set the parameters as tight or as loose as you like, and it'll do that job for you really, really well. So why would you build a GPT or use a GPT, a custom GPT? I'm turning, for my brokerages that I do consulting with, I'm turning their SOPs into GPTs, right? So they're standard operating procedures. That way anybody on the team can go in, create content for that job, and it will be at the baseline. They can't mess it up. Let's just say that, right? Mm-hmm. The parameters are set so tight that they cannot mess it up. You would create them for repetitive tasks. So if you're going in every week and asking ChatGPT to do the same thing with a big fat prompt, because that's what prompt engineering is, it's a lot of information, you would just turn that into a GPT so that you wouldn't have to necessarily prompt it anymore. For example, I built one for listing descriptions because I didn't understand why agents were using ChatGPT for listing descriptions. The amount of information you have to put in there to get a good one, it's why don't you write the thing yourself, right? That's my opinion on it. So because they wanted to use them, I built a custom GPT for listing descriptions, and all you have to do is upload the pictures of your listing and type in the full address. And it's going to analyze the pictures, give you an aesthetic description, then it's going to search the neighborhood for schools and, area amenities to add into this description, as well as search for market conditions so it knows what tone to use in the listing description. It's also going to use keywords that are SEO driven as well. So that's literally a lot quicker than having to engineer a prompt and giving it examples and tones and, you know what I mean? The whole 9 yards. It will also ask you if there's any special features that, aren't identifiable in the pictures. There usually are. So you would tell it for those. And people seem to be loving it. So that's a really great one to use, because if you've got, 5 or 6 listings happening a week, or you're a team, you can literally, you're just writing the same prompt and regenerating it over and over and over again. Why not use a GPT instead?
Yeah, I love it. Well, and also just to create a more, I guess, to put a little bit more life into some of the standard listing descriptions that people will use. I think a lot of times now when you're reading an MLS description, sometimes it's actually quite obvious that it was drafted by ChatGPT, and mainly it's because the agent doesn't read it and doesn't edit it and doesn't change it. But it sounds like this GPT is kind of doing a lot of that heavy lifting for you in many senses. Like it's already kind of handling a lot of that editing that we may be doing and actually revamping the prompt before it actually produces it. So is this kind of what the tool is doing?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very specific. So One thing to remember about custom GPTs is they're only as good as the prompt engineer who's created them. Okay. So I am literally an expert prompt engineer at this point. I've been doing it since ChatGPT came out. I spent hours on Reddit, Discord, like figuring this stuff out before there was any formal education around it. I am meticulous. There's nothing I leave out. So basically, and the custom instructions are very, very detailed. And the way I write and create my GPTs is to take all of the guesswork out of it for the user, right? Streamline the process for them so that they don't have to understand prompt engineering to create something amazing. I've already built it into the back end.
Love it. Yeah, that's really powerful. And I think it's probably worthwhile for us to discuss a little bit more about prompt engineering and how that works. But right before we jump into that, what are some other GPTs that you've created that that agents are using on a regular basis?
I've got one going viral now in the GPT store because some of them I make public and you can just search them by searching my name. Some of them I keep private for people that I coach and obvious reasons, like the really good ones. But I've got one going viral right now. It will produce, it's called the Social Media Caption Wizard. And what that will do is it will create SEO optimized captions that are different for every single platform. And when you're using social media, your captions should not be the same on TikTok as they are on LinkedIn for obvious reasons. Algorithms are different, audiences are different, SEO is different. So I've built a custom GPT that understands all of the differences and what they need to look like. So that all you have to do is tell it what your video is about, or your picture's about, or your post is about, and it will generate sets, captions that are different for every platform that you can just copy and paste in. And that's a huge tip for anybody wanting to grow on social media, I think, is never just copy and paste the same description across all platforms. I do it all the time. Okay, I'm going to be honest, but I also have tens of thousands of followers and I've got a really strong and loyal audience. So nobody cares, right? But for anybody looking to grow, yeah, do what I say, not what I do. That's going to be the game.
Well, we'll definitely put that custom GPT into the show notes so agents can play around with it.
I've built another one. My most recent one is actually for commercial agents. So I'm also a commercial agent. I've been practicing both for 15 years almost. And I built one where you can upload a pro forma or financials, and it's going to analyze the data, calculate cap rate, NOI. So obviously this would work for multi-res, not just commercial, as well as advise whether it's a good investment, look at the location, the area, it'll look at leases, any kind of documentation that you'll upload. And I've done that. And then I've gone further, and you can also ask it to recommend ideas to improve value and increase value over the next 12 months. It's got some amazing suggestions. I've also asked it to, now that it understands all the numbers of this property, write me an email that's targeting potential buyers for this property. So once you start with data, you can create anything, which is super cool. Mm-hmm. So that's what that one does specifically. That's my latest one. Very cool. That's really interesting. I mean, I can even see a use case for these as time goes on. I mean, right now you have to kind of have a GPT Plus account to go in there and start using them. But as time goes on, like we could theoretically all have AI versions of ourselves as real estate agents, and our consumers can be asking us questions. And then when it comes time for something a little bit more robust, maybe we get inserted into the equation. Is that kind of the way that you see real estate agents going in the future? There's kind of an AI version of them, and then there's the real human version of them. Yeah, well, I'm really urging agents to be creating their own custom GPTs for their buyers and sellers. First, in a form of lead magnets to bring in leads. I think it's a really cool lead magnet idea, but also to replace them and answer frequently asked questions. There's a way to program them. Maybe you're working with a lot of downsizers. So this GPT would be really emotionally sensitive to, the turmoil of having to downsize because it is a process, right? And it's uncomfortable for a lot of people. It can advise them on different companies and in supporting industries. And yeah, it would just replace you maybe for those questions that your clients don't want to bother you about. You could provide them with a GPT that would answer like you do, which is cool.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And this kind of, I guess, leads me to start to think through this concept of discoverability, which I think you know very, very well. But in this world where people are interacting with an AI model or interacting with an AI version of their agent, well, now they're not typing into Google, why do I need a home inspection? Or do I need a home inspection?
Mhm.
Or they're not going to your website potentially and looking at your FAQ or looking at your buyer's guide. So how are you kind of thinking through this concept of agent discoverability in the way of AI as well as SEO from an agent website perspective?
Okay, first let's start with, I think we can all agree that when we're doing research on a business or a referral has been made to us, we're looking on social media to find that person. I think we can all agree on that. Somebody recommends a hairdresser. I'm on Instagram trying to find pictures. You know what I mean? To be discoverable on AI is the future. I've been talking about this since December. Or sorry, not December, September. Everybody, all of the agents, all the businesses out there that have spent tens of thousands of dollars on SEO and their website, will it matter when the public starts using AI more and more and more, like for their searches, like ChatGPT? I don't think it will. Now, how do you become discoverable on AI by AI? Easy, through a massive amount of valuable content. Where's the only place you can generate that? Social media, right? So if you have a strong digital brand, it goes so far beyond your website. At this point, it's the majority of it is on social media and all platforms. That's another reason why social media is so important. And then a few weeks ago, I saw that Google announced a new update. Its search results, have you heard about this?
Mm-hmm.
Its search results are now at the top going to be AI generated. So there it is right there, guys. Because right now it's ads, sponsored, 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 real answer, real answer, real answer, sponsored. Now it's going to be AI generated for like probably a half of a page. And then we're going to get into sponsored because Google's not going to want to lose that as well, that revenue. And then you might get some organic stuff in there. So it's more and more important now, more than ever, to really solidify your digital brand, get on social media and start creating, like, don't just create any content. Like Michael, you were talking about earlier, you know, the oversaturation of AI generated content. Like create valuable content. That's what's going to matter, and create a lot of it and do it all the time.
So let's talk about a lot of it. So when we're thinking about creating a lot of content, how many pieces of content would you say that would be, say, on a daily basis?
I think I create about 27. Yeah.
Per
About
day?
18 to 27 per day.
Wow.
But you got to remember
And
that's like 9 platforms.
okay. So it might be one piece of content distributed 9 times across 9 platforms.
And repurposed, right? So you have Twitter, Threads, you have Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. And then personally, I have two Facebook groups that I manage and own, as well as a workplace group for EXP, my brokerage, which is like workplace is a Facebook community that is company specific. So I have a lot of platform. Oh, and I have a group in LinkedIn. So I have a lot of places to post. The biggest kickback I get about that is, well, I don't want to bother people and I only want to post on Instagram because I don't want to bother anybody with too much content. And it's like, I think Gary V said this the best, like, your Instagram post, like 17 people saw it. Like, don't worry about, bothering people and annoying them with your content. It's never going to happen. And he's right. And if you can repurpose now with AI, still customizing and changing per platform in the same amount of time as you did before you used the other platforms, why wouldn't you do that? Your chances to meet and connect with more people just like 10 times.
when we're thinking through this concept, and I just wrote this down so that I didn't forget it, but I wanted to touch on this concept of prompt engineering with you. And when an agent's going into a chat GPT and actually crafting a prompt, do you have any suggestions for them? And I know this is a lot easier to do when you're actually looking at a prompt and you can analyze it, but is there any kind of overarching suggestions that you may have for agents when they're crafting a prompt?
Yeah, I feel like the biggest mistake that I see is they aren't identifying exactly who they want ChatGPT to be
Hmm.
for that task. If you want to create the best ad copy that we've ever seen in real estate, you need to act like the top. You need to have ChatGPT act like the top marketing company for ad cams in North America. You need to be very specific, have it
Yeah.
channel something. Like I always, even like I built a custom GPT for script writing for like door knocking or like any kind of conversation. I have the GPT channeling Jeremy Lee Minor because I think he's the best at script writing. So you have to have it channel somebody or else the results aren't going to be as good.
It's a really good point. Like otherwise, and this has kind of was my struggle initially with ChatGPT, is just this general response that it provides. But if you just start your prompt with act as, and then fill in the blank, you're going to get a more specific response on what you're looking for. I think that's a really, really good suggestion. And then as you're thinking through some of these large language models, these LLMs out there, some of the main ones that agents may be familiar with or not familiar with potentially would be ChatGPT, Anthropic, Gemini, Perplexity. Do you use ChatGPT might be the more frequently used one and the more frequently known one, but do you use the other ones like Anthropic, Gemini, Perplexity for any other tools, for any other, I guess, workflows or tasks that you may have?
No, I don't. ChatGPT is my favorite LLM, which is the large language model chatbot. It is the source for all of these tools, these niche AI tools. They are powered through ChatGPT. It is the quickest to advance and the earliest to adopt new advancements. That's how I feel about it, and feel like it can literally do anything. There's a lot of AI tools that are amazing and I do recommend, but I personally use ChatGPT for everything because I'm an expert prompt engineer. I can get out of it so much more than I can even from a niche product. So that's the one. My marketing partner that uses Perplexity. I think that's what she uses. Grok. Have you tried Grok yet?
Yeah, I have. But Grok cracks me up, and Grok's just for everybody's knowledge, it's Elon Musk and X's, I guess, LLM.
Yeah.
But yeah, tell the audience about Grok because I quite like it.
Yeah, so Grok is the LLM that Elon Musk built. And it is powered by Twitter. So they say that conversationally, it's better, it's more witty, it's got more personality than any of the other LLMs because it's trained on tweets, which is really actually exciting for social media content creation, in my opinion. Like, you might be seeing more of my content created by Grok in the future because Twitter's, I don't, everybody has their own, or sorry, X, whatever you want to call it. I still call it Twitter. Everybody has their opinion about Twitter or X, and I quite enjoy it. I find it very valuable for many reasons, and I find it full of personality and highly entertaining. So an AI chatbot that is, learns from these tweets is just a great idea for me all around.
Yeah, and I think he has like a slider on it or something where you can kind of make it more spicy. And reading some of the responses when you make Grok more spicy, I'm sure everyone can kind of imagine Elon Musk's idea of what a spicy take would be on something. But they're quite humorous. They're quite funny like you said, it has that personality touch to it.
Yeah, it will actually there's a one-click prompt that you can use in Grok, and it's hilarious. It will roast you based on your
Yeah.
tweet. It's based on your Twitter profile. It will roast you. And mine was funny. They called me a mixture of Sam Altman, Elon Musk, and the Kardashians. I thought
Well,
that was
that's not a bad mixture. I'd take
that
that.
was
That's
funny.
pretty good.
I know
That's
it could
quite
have been
funny.
worse, right? It could have been worse.
Yeah, I mean, it is an interesting concept though around training some of these models with some of this, I guess, user generated content like Twitter, where the user's inputting their tweet and then you're training the model on it. And then recently Reddit went public, and there's a lot of discussion around how Reddit is going to basically be integrating with certain tools too, because there's just so much vast amount of content on these platforms.
Have you heard of how Apple is going to roll out with their AI? Have you heard about this?
Well,
I just read it about it this morning. Their Siri is going to be so advanced, it's going to be able to read your screen. So that when you ask it to search for something and it gives you a list, say you ask it for, give me the best Thai restaurant in, Niagara. And it gives you a list and it says, well, what are the reviews like on this one here? And it can see which one you're scrolling to, right? And then it can start answering. I think that's super cool. There's so many advancements coming. I'm really
yeah,
excited.
it's moving so quickly. I think and I heard that, I don't know if this has actually played out, but I heard Apple and OpenAI were in discussion around working together. But all I can say is please improve Siri, because Siri right now is like, it's very painful. I use more profanity with Siri than anything asking it to do something, because of how frustrating it is. So I know all these companies are working on it in the background, as you can usually tell by their market cap and how much they've appreciated over the past number of months with integration of AI.
Yeah.
But Carrie, this is really fantastic. Thank you very much for all of this information on tools that agents can use and start to think about where the world is going in the face of AI, and how this quickly changing technology is going to impact us all. If agents want to get in touch with you, how can they best contact you?
Well, they can just find me on Instagram. So even though I have a lot of automation set up, I am very, very particular at answering my own DMs. So just find me on Instagram and message me.
Perfect. And then you also have a coaching group for agents as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I do AI consulting with mega teams and brokerages, but then I built a digital program for realtors. It's super comprehensive and kind of like a step by step. It's not just AI and how to use it properly. It's how to implement into funnels and money generating systems. I think it's important to mention. AI itself doesn't make you money. It's just a shiny object. Using AI to generate business with systems and funnels is a game changer. So again, just reach out to me. I have a link tree in all of my social media accounts where you can find that program as well.
Perfect. Awesome. And if anybody else wanted to learn more about this and explore it further, of course, Carrie's Instagram, but also your YouTube, I find you have quite a few great interviews and starting to explore this whole world of AI as well as social media. And with these mega teams, there's some great content there on that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Carrie, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime. Thank you so much.